It's Saturday, May 6, 2023. I'm TC Kirkham, and this is the Kirkham Report. Greetings, vinyl community. TC Kirkham here, the Kirkham Report. We have got a packed show for you this week, so let's get started right now with this week's cover story. Singer Ed Sheeran was found that he did not infringe Marvin Gaye's classic hit Let's Get It On in a copyright infringement suit that lasted just about 2 weeks in New York over the past couple of weeks. There were some very testy moments in the trial as the prosecutors attempted to get Sheeran to admit he stole things, while the Sheeran side rightly pointed out that there are many building blocks in music, and a lot of those blocks are used by many artists. In fact, the chord progression that was in question had been used dozens of times before Let's Get It On, and dozens of times between Let's Get It On and Thinking Out Loud, the 2014 hit that Sheeran was supposed to have partially plagiarized. The jury came to a unanimous verdict, something they were required to do by the judge, and it only took about 3 hours to reach that verdict. Let's hope that this verdict puts to end some of the ridiculous copyright lawsuits that have taken place in the music industry over the past decade since the completely infamous and completely ass-backwards Blurred Lines decision a few years ago, where it was decided that that had infringed, even though every musicologist on the planet says it did not. There is a continuing concern by songwriters that the Sheeran suit would completely upend the music industry if he were found guilty. Thankfully, that's not so, and the suit was filed in 2017 by the heirs of songwriter Ed Townsend, who was the co-writer with Gaye of Let's Get It On. After speaking with Sheeran following the trial, his daughter, who was representing his estate, Catherine Townsend Griffin, and Ed were seen laughing and chatting after the verdict, and she also said if there had been if we had just had a chance to speak, there probably wouldn't have been a lawsuit. Sheeran's side pointed out just how common these building blocks are. The prosecution thought they had a smoking gun because Ed had mashed up Let's Get It On and Thinking Out Loud in concert before, but the Sheeran side trumped them by pulling out a very popular clip from YouTube, which I will show in the show notes, from a Australian comedy troupe that shows that these same building blocks have been used to write dozens of hit songs over the years. That I first saw that video a couple years ago, and I will have a link to it in the show notes if you'd like to check it out. It's very funny. The kind of stuff that has gone on with these various infringement suits since Blurred Lines have been ridiculous. There are certain elements of songs you cannot be accused of infringing when they belong to the entire music industry and, in fact, into the entire world. There's basic elements of songs that are going to be the same no matter what. Most musicologists agree with that. In fact, a lot of music producers agree with that as well. In any case, it is time for this stuff to stop. I hope that this verdict, along with the verdict from last year, which also found Led Zeppelin not infringing on the original songwriters, accusing them of stealing Stairway to Heaven, will help lay to rest some of the frivolous lawsuits. There are going to be legitimate ones eventually in the future, but more and more of them are becoming simply frivolous. In fact, this week I found out that one of the songs I featured on this last week's Eurovision Spotlight, Netta's Toy from the 2018, which won the contest, was sued by Universal for being too similar to Seven Nation Army. If you listen to the two songs back to back, you will hear zero similarities, and it's my hope that some of these can be unwound as well, since they are clearly not deserved. It's becoming a really ridiculous prospect in the music industry, and I have said and gone on the record of thinking that these types of lawsuits should always be decided only by experts, but in this case, the jury got it right. Thank you, jury, and thank you, judge, for doing the job everyone else should not be making you do because of these ridiculous lawsuits. And that's this week's cover story. This week's Out of the Box has got a lot involved, and then I obviously haven't had time to listen to everything, but I will. First of all, shout out to our fellow vinyl community member, Michael Christensen. I became a huge fan of Mr. Christensen last year, thanks to Steve Carlson, who introduced me to him. This is the brand new album, The Middle Kingdom Years. There are only 100 copies, so if you want one, go over to Bandcamp and get one right away. This is actually a compilation of several of Michael's earlier releases. Limited edition of 100 translucent sea blue 180 gram vinyl, psychedelic space rock with ethereal ambience. I love Michael's stuff. I can't praise him enough, and if you haven't heard it, I urge you to go check it out. I'll have a link to his site and his channel in the show notes. Please, by all means. Now, on to the remainder of my record store day buys. I got all of them in this week. The first set of 4 comes from 1234 Go Records in San Francisco. There's their sticker. They also sent me this ad for some AC/DC sunglasses and a number of other things on the back, and I'm thinking to myself, why would I spend money on this? I wouldn't. The first four purchases are from them. Trying to get things in order here. First up, I think this is the first new music in quite a while from these people, the surviving members of the band. Several of them are no longer with us. This is brand new Rhythm of the World from the Cowsills. That's Susan in front, and she was the little sister when Hair was out. I remember loving that song. It comes with a lyric sleeve and pictures of the recording sessions. It is on green vinyl, translucent dark green. Cowsill started recording in the 1960s, and of course their family act was the basis for the television series The Partridge Family. Really terrific music all the way around, and I haven't had time to listen to it, unfortunately, but I will shortly. Also, another album I could not wait to get my hands on, and I looked through this and I'm like, wow, I didn't even know she wrote that. These are all original demos written by and performed on this album by one of the greatest legends of all time, Carole King. The legendary demos. This includes Carol's original demos of Pleasant Valley Sunday, which I didn't even know she wrote. That's news to me. So Goes Love, Take Care of My Baby, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, Like Little Children, Beautiful, Crying in the Rain, Way Over Yonder, Yours Until Tomorrow, It's Too Late, Tapestry, Just Once in My Life, and You've Got a Friend. Picture taken from, I would say, circa 1975 or so. I was unaware Carol had written Pleasant Valley Sunday. I've loved that song since I was a little kid. Of course, the Monkees had a huge hit with it. There's the inner sleeve and the liner notes. It is on what they call ivory clear vinyl. You just can't say transparent, apparently. Ivory clear. Very much looking forward to that. Third, let me go to the soundtrack here. The third one, this is I have, the movie only played here in Boston for a week, about 2 months, about a month ago. I haven't seen it since. I very much want to see it. It is based on two different books about the rise and fall of Casablanca Records, and it is it's supposed to be very entertaining. It got good notices when it showed the festival circuit last year. This is the soundtrack from Spinning Gold. Love that little bird there on the cover. It features reimaginings of some of the biggest hits of both Casablanca and the earlier label that Neil Bogart worked for. And I'm sorry, I've forgotten what label it was. Let me see if it says here on the hype sticker. Buddha Records. So this features redos of songs from both Buddha and Casablanca by some of today's artists, all the way around. Shout It Out Loud, performed by Sam Harris and Casey Likes. Love to Love You Baby, performed by Taylor Parks. Cherry on Top, performed by Jeremy Jordan. It's Your Thing from Jason Derulo. One Toke Over the Line by Alec Benjamin. That one frightens the hell out of me. Tiny little voice, Alec Benjamin doing One Toke Over the Line. That'd be really funny. Ain't No Sunshine by Pink Sweat. Midnight Train to Georgia by Ledesi. Rock and Roll All Night by Sam Harris and Casey Likes. Give Up the Funk. Wiz Khalifa. Beth by Alex Gaxworth. I don't know him. Bad Girls from Taylor Parks. Last Dance from Jeremy Jordan and Taylor Parks. And Greatest Time by Jeremy Jordan and the cast. Jeremy Jordan is, I believe, plays the Neil Bogart character in this movie. There is also a documentary coming out about Casablanca. This comes with an insert talking about it and showing the acts as they are seen in the film. And it is on, of course, gold vinyl, which makes sense, spinning gold. I don't really know that much about the film. I haven't seen too much press about it, although I did see where it did get good notices last year on the festival circuit, but I haven't really seen or known anybody that saw it because it's a very small independent film, and I'm getting tired of ending up with Steve Carlson syndrome, not being able to put things in the sleeves all of a sudden the last couple of weeks. Oh my gosh, really? Let's get this in here, because this takes up your time too, folks. Sorry about that. But I can't wait to see the film. It should be on demand in a couple of months, I would think. It may already be there if it's such a small distributor. I forgot who. I think A12, is that their name? I think is who's handling it. But it should be an interesting film to boot. So that's also Record Store Day. And finally, as I mentioned last week on one of my shows, I did order this, and I can't wait to hear it. It's going to be great. This is a 12-inch single featuring the original version, the Latin mix, the UK single version of classic pop hit Pop Music by M. It also includes Baby Close the Window, which was from, I believe, the Official Secrets Act, the 12-inch version. Robin Scott, M, continues to mine this 1979 hit for gold. 50 years almost, 40 years, 42 years after it was out. But I can't wait to hear that. So thank you to 1234 Go Records for that. The other 5 I picked up came from a company in Chicago called Plaid Room Records. I first heard about them on Concert Buddies channel. They are terrific. Really quick. They said it could be 2 or 3 weeks before they arrived, and they arrived in, I don't know, about a week and a half, which I think is great. Also sent this postcard along with the sticker, and the other 5 albums that I had on my list. First up, and I noticed this is marked for UK, but it was here as well, and I was quite glad it was. It was a little pricey. I would have liked it a little bit less, but I really wanted it, and I couldn't resist it because I'm a big fan of the show. From originally released in 1976, I believe, this is the reissue of The Amazing World of Doctor Who, featuring stories from the iconic 70s annuals read by Jeffrey Beavers, Louise Jameson, and Dan Starkey. It is 2 LPs. One is red, one is gold, or one is orange vinyl. I have not broken this open yet. I haven't had time to do any of these. These just came, and I haven't had time to open any of them. At least the other ones I had open. Louise Jameson, of course, played Leela during the Tom Baker era on Doctor Who. And I know the other two names, and they both had roles on the show at some point. So it'll be interesting to listen to. I'd seen this years ago in catalogs, and it was like out of print for years. So that's very cool. Next up, and I actually think I have the OG of this too. I'll have to look, but I love this woman. I've been picking up everything they're re-putting out by her, and she is terrific. This is, let me see what year, 1978, I would bet, because of the label. No, it's only given the original. It's only given this year on this. This is exclusive 2 LP heavyweight green vinyl with bonus singles, B-sides, and rarities of Susie Quattro's Quattro. I believe it came out in 1977, if I'm not mistaken. Susie Quattro, amazing, often unheralded singer from this country, who made her big name in England. And then, of course, she got better known as an actress playing Leather Tuscadero on Happy Days. She is so underappreciated by many people, and she is such a great... She was there before Joan Jett was there, and they are the two queens of rock and roll, without a question. Susie Quattro and Quattro. Also picked this up after Melinda Murphy talked about it. I probably might have anyway, because I love the songs on this. It's two, the favorite songs from this group. But I'm really... I can't wait to listen to it. And they have reissued it on the original Motown label, if I'm not mistaken. Produced by the incomparable Norman Whitfield. This is The Temptations and their 1971 album, All Directions. It features funky music, She Nuff, Turn It On. Funky music, She Nuff, Turns Me On. Run, Charlie, Run. Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Love Woke Me Up This Morning. I Ain't Got Nothing. The First Time Ever I Saw Your Face. Mother Nature and Do Your Thing. Melinda was raving about it, and I'm like, wow, I'm going to get that, because I love classic Motown as well. And so I did. I picked that up from Plaid Room. Fourth, this was high on my list, as you guys would have known, because I am such a huge fan of this woman. And I admit, I don't think I've ever heard maybe 2 of these songs. I'm familiar with Dumb Blonde, and I'm familiar with... I think I'll Put It Off Till Tomorrow, but the rest of these are all new to me from her versions. This is Dolly Parton, the Monument Singles Collection, 1964 to 1968. This is every A and B side she released on Monument Records, remastered from the Mono Master tapes, with liner notes by Holly George Warren. I have not had a chance to open it, as I said. It includes huge list of songs. What Do You Think About Lovin'? I Wasted My Tears. Happy Happy Birthday Baby. Old Enough to Know Better. Too Young to Resist. Busy Signal. I Took Him for Granted. Don't Drop Out. Control Yourself. The Little Things. I'll Put It Off Till Tomorrow. Dumb Blonde. The Giving and the Taking. Something Fishy. I've Lived My Life. I Couldn't Wait Forever. Why? I'm Not Worth the Tears. And Ping Pong. Original recordings were produced by Fred Foster and Ray Stevens. Not sure if it's that Ray Stevens, but since he did record for Monument, I have a feeling it was. With engineers Christensen, Brett Mayer, Tommy Strong, and Mort Thomason. It's Dolly Parton. It's not going to be bad. And finally, the one that I really wanted, and as I said, I got it for list price from Plaid Room, not the 50 whatever that Newberry's was asking for it. Cannot wait to see the documentary coming out about this woman. It premiered, it was the opening night film at the Boston Independent Film Festival of Boston, which was the last couple of weeks. We used to go every year. We haven't been since COVID. But it premieres on HBO Max on May 20th, and I cannot wait to see it. This is Donna Summer, A Hot Summer Night. 2-record set, recorded the 40th anniversary of the live recording, August 6th at the Pacific Amphitheater in Costa Mesa, California. It features an intro, MacArthur Park, Love is in Control, Unconditional Love, with musical youth on stage with her. Romeo, Don't Cry For Me, Argentina, on the radio, Forgive Me, which is one of my favorite songs by her. Sisters Dialogue, Woman with Band Introductions, The Bad Girls Medley, which is all the hits from that album, Dim All the Lights, Sunset People, Bad Girls, and Hot Stuff. And then Last Dance, She Works Hard for the Money, and State of Independence with her daughter Mimi singing with her. State of Independence, if you're not familiar with it, is a John and Vangelis song that Donna did a cover of on the Donna Summer Quincy Jones album, which was stupendously good. I cannot wait to get into this, and all of these will get broken open this weekend for sure. Love Donna Summer, and this album is going to be terrific. Those are the rest of my Record Store Day pickups, as well as the Michael Christensen album. And that is this week's Out of the Box. And we've got a new segment that's coming that's also out of the box stuff, but it's devoted to one thing, and it's coming up. After all this time of purchasing so many things from Dawn and Mary at Two Hip Chicks, I've decided to give them their own segment when I do stuff, because I just continue to purchase stuff from them practically every week. And this week is no exception, and next week will be no exception, because I got a couple of things coming from them. First up, Dawn and Mary usually operate primarily on 4 auctions. They're taking the summer off of Death Pile Clearance, which is on with Melanie Lightbeam every Monday at 1 p.m. I don't usually hit that one. I'm usually at work. I do hit Johnny Cajun Roots Resellers Hump Day auction on Wednesday. They're also doing every other week a deal of the Dawns with Johnny on Friday. Excuse me. And they've also started having a Tuesday night Whatnot sale. So I've been there most of the time. Not only have Dawn and Mary become good friends of mine, I really, and co-hosts on Finding Your Music Mojo, but they always find great stuff. And they just recently, I'm going to get rid of this hair, I just noticed, they just bought a lot of 30,000 45s. Where the hell do you expect me to put all these? Oh my God. In any case, this is the latest shipment. First up, this is from the Whatnot auction from a couple of weeks ago. I actually played, I have a digital copy, but I do not have the vinyl, and I do now. It is actually in really good shape for a record that came out in 1959, I believe was the year. This is a novelty song from John Zackerley, who was a horror show host. He was syndicated. Best known, I believe, he was most seen on the East Coast, but he was syndicated for a while. And he actually had a hit with this. Dinner with Drac, parts 1 and 2. I don't normally pay a large price for singles, but when they're really something I want and I think would be an excellent addition to my collection, I do. This was $8, and I appreciate it. And it was worth it because it is a vintage and it is in great shape. I also picked up 4 other things that Dawn had in a Whatnot sale, but didn't sell there. So I said, hey, I'd like those. They are 4 MGM disc jockey recordings from the 1950s, I believe. All coming in the original MGM Records sleeve. Heard parts of them when they played them on Whatnot. This is Sinner's Wine and Fresh Out of Tryin' from Molly B. Not familiar with that one at all, beyond what they played. South End Incident, and that's, I think it's vocal and instrumental, from the Beacon Street Union. Your Lily White Hands, and One of the Chosen Few from Ray Griff, and Splendor of You, and Tara Theme, both by Lee Evans. I've never had these kind of DJ records, and this is very cool. And these were a good buy, and I could not. I really appreciate that. Um, and I got a lot of 15 from Johnny's auction as well. I don't have. I have some of these, but there were a few that I thought would be very cool to have in my collection. Tequila by Bill Black's Combo. Obviously not the original version. I actually think Raunchy was a hit for them, which was the flip side. Not sure, I'll have to check on that. The original classic song Midnight Confessions, along with Who Will You Be Tomorrow from the Grassroots. I have several copies of this, mostly thanks to Daughter Mary. Tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. And I Can't Believe How Much I Love You from Dawn, featuring Tony Orlando. Don't Cry Out Loud and We Had This Time from Melissa Manchester. This is one of the ones I had already. Sorry, I keep banging the microphone. Harlem Nocturne from the Viscounts, backed with Midnight Mary by Joey Powers on Flashback Records, which were used for Bell and later Arista titles. This is Arista. Although I would have thought the Viscounts were earlier than that. The Show Must Go On and On the Way Back Home from Three Dog Night. Love those guys. Suspicious Minds and You'll Think of Me from Elvis Presley. A lot of writing on that one. You can't really see it. Sorry about that. Young Girl and I'm Losing You, Gary Puckett and the Union Gap. Convoy and Long Lonesome Road from C.W. McCall. This, again, I have several copies of. Again, it's a different label, a different typeface, so this is probably a different pressing. Lost Her in the Sun and Heart of the Dream from Jon Stewart. Singer Jon Stewart, who was part of the Kingston Trio. Bobby Rydell's remake of Volare, along with I Do It Again. We're talking about this coming week. Hello, Goodbye, and I Am the Walrus from the Beatles on the original Capitol release before Apple came along. Everyday People and Sing a Simple Song from Sly and the Family Stone. Windy and Sometime from The Association. Classic Perry Como, Catch a Falling Star, and Chinchirinki, I don't know how to pronounce that. Backside, sorry. And a picture sleeve from Joyce Sims, Come Into My Life. This is on Sleeping Bag Records, a label I've never heard of. I do remember seeing this on the chart in the late 80s, I believe, or early 90s. So those will be interesting to check out. And also, I picked up a CD. This is Cosmo A Go-Go from the El Paso Chili Company. I would assume that's a restaurant or a chili distributor. It has... let me read what it says here because I can't see it. This compilation, that's just EMI stuff. It features Whistle Song by Fantastic Plastic Machine, Summer Sun by Coop, Voulez-Vous by Arlene and Cameron, This Time by the Q Burns Abstract Message, Au Commencement by Etienne Dano, Find an Oasis by Block 16 featuring Jalisa, Baghdad Cafe by Jus or Ajus featuring Naomi Nasambi, 13 Men by Anne Margaret, Something from Cat by Four Piece Suit, Slip Away by CC, Rain Song by Mosquitoes, and I Need Love by Luca Bloom. This should be interesting. And those are my auction acquisitions this week from my pals at Two Hip Chicks.
On these bridges that were made to fall, but it's beautiful. like midnight in Paris. What do you have in store? Come and share secrets so we can make more.
Of all the new artists that could be breaking huge, this is the one you need to be watching, because I think within 2 or 3 years' time, he is going to be one of the biggest stars in the world. His name is Gjon Muharaj. He uses the moniker John's Tears or Jean's Tears. I have brought his name up before, and I cannot stress enough that you need to watch this young man. He is going to be huge. This is his debut album, The Game. It features music in both English and French, including the first single, English single, Midnight in Paris. Excuse me, the first, does it feature? I'm looking here. No, it does not. It does. I thought it did. It does not feature Pure, which was a recent single. Oh, yes, it does. Pure album version. Pure was the first single in French. It also features his 2021 Eurovision entry, To l'Univers. This man is going to be huge. I can't stress this enough. Whether you are a fan of music in other languages, and he is recording in English on this album, you cannot ignore him. He is the next generation of performers that the last 2 generations I would have considered to be Sam Harris, who won the 1984 Star Search, went on to Broadway and became a major star, and Josh Groban, who has just been nominated for a Tony for his role in Sweeney Todd. His voice is similar. It is powerful. He can do it all live. I have seen him match every high note on his songs live that he does on recording. He's 23 years old, and he is going to be a musical legend. This is the album. It is part of a deluxe set that I've purchased directly from the John's Tears website. I will have a link in the show notes. You can still buy it there. It is on two different discs. It also came with this original artwork, which he has signed. I don't believe he drew it. It doesn't say. Drawn by Martino, Gaffon, Samuel, Pascal, and Jean. So he did do part of it. This is part of that, as are these collection of stickers and a handkerchief for your tears. It comes in an incredible box set. Jean's Tears, The Game. That's going to drive the camera nuts. I have to tell you, people, if you don't jump on the bandwagon now, you're going to get left behind. This kid blew me away at Eurovision 2020 before it was canceled. His song there, although I wasn't a huge fan of its video because it reminded me of a very pretentious French film, Respond-moi was a beautiful song. He was chosen by Switzerland again to represent them in 2021. To Univers, which finished in 3rd place. I'm sorry, I thought it was the runner-up at Eurovision. He was leading most of the competition until Måneskin came along and knocked him out of the top. He was a competitor and a finalist on The Voice Switzerland when he was 17 and 18. I will have links to some of this in the show notes. Don't miss the boat, people. John's Tears is destined to be a major star around the world. Not just in France and Switzerland and other countries that speak French. He is going to be a universal superstar. You need to jump on the bandwagon now. John's Tears is definitely an artist of the future that you should know. Well, the word is officially in. Taylor Swift had a very positive effect on Record Store Day. Luminate, who compiles the information of sales and numbers for the various music magazines, including Billboard, RSD helped drive a modern era record of 1.426 million vinyl albums sold in the U.S. at independent record stores during the week ending April 27th. 1.45 million albums in 1 week. I can't remember the last time vinyl or even CDs did that. The incredible Record Store Day alone helped sell 1.8 million titles at retailers and sellers, not just indie stores overall. And I mean, wow. People who say Record Store Day's power is waning, they're wrong. I was one of them. I stand corrected. I really do. The sales numbers on this were insane. The biggest hits, the most of sales. Let me pull that up if it's on this article. The biggest sellers were Taylor Swift's Folklore at number 1, Pearl Jam's Give Way at number 2, a tie for number 3 between The Cure's Show and Stevie Nicks' Belladonna Live 1981, and a tie for 5th place with the Grateful Dead Boston box set and the repackaging of Rolling Stones' Beggar's Banquet. Tori Amos, Jason Isbell, Larry Lovestein, and the Velvet Revival, and the Ramones round up the top 10. An amazing array of artists. Record Store Day is proving me wrong, despite the continually rising prices to levels which are just ridiculous. They are still very relevant and still very much propelling the vinyl resurgence. If you've got a title you'd like to see try to come out at Record Store Day, they have now reposted their wish list link. I'll have a link in the show notes. I've already posted 2 that I would like to see reissued on vinyl, or issued on vinyl for the very first time, actually. Bad for Good's Refugee and Karen Carpenter's solo album, which I've said a number of times on this show. I urge you to go over and make your suggestions as well. So congratulations, vinyl You are back and back in spades with such huge sales for Record Store Day 2023. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to include it right here in the show right after this segment, but I have a huge schedule of Eurovision stuff coming up this week. Eurovision takes place this coming week, Tuesday, May 9th, Thursday, May 11th, and Saturday, May 13th, the finals. We will be doing live Eurovision watch-alongs for each of the show, including the finals, on Teleparty. You will need to have Peacock, an account with Peacock, and Teleparty installed on your computer on either Chrome or Firefox to take part. I hope some of you will be there. I will have the Teleparty links to each of those shows up on my community tab about 15 minutes before we go live, and it will also be tweeted out on my Twitter at eCinema1. So I urge you to connect with me on Twitter and also check out the community tabs, because I'd like you to join me. We'll sit there, we'll watch Eurovision's semifinals and finals together, we'll chat, we'll have a grand old time. I have a lot of other stuff coming up, and so I'm going to get out of here and show you what it is. Don't forget, this Monday is our bi-weekly show, Finding Your Music Mojo with TC and Dawn. Dawn will be hosting and I will be co-hosting. It will be available on both TKR Video Central and Two Hip Chicks at 6 p.m. Eastern live, Eastern U.S. Eastern Time. That is 3 p.m. live Pacific Time. We're going to go the other way. We talked a couple of shows ago about maudlin songs. This time we're going to be talking about songs that bring you joy, and we hope that you will join us for that discussion. I will also probably have some Eurovision stuff to talk about. Dawn doesn't watch it, but I'm going to bring a little bit of it up because there's a lot of songs of Eurovision that bring me joy. So this whole next week is going to be about Eurovision, and Finding Your Music Mojo is no exception, at least a little part of it. But the rest of it will always be fun. We love it when you come by. So please do stop by, be a part of the chat, be a part of the discussion about joyful songs and songs that make you happy on this week's Finding Your Music Mojo with TC and Dawn, live Monday, May 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on TKR Video Central and Two Hip Chicks. I am going to mosey on out of here. This has been a long show, I'm pretty sure, because I had a lot to talk about and a lot of stuff to go on. I actually cut a couple of things from this week's show. So I hope that you will check out next week's show. I will definitely be doing an in-depth look at a new miniseries on Peacock, which examines the connection between the Melendez murders and the pop group Menudo. That is coming up next week. Also next week, I will have a new Unsolved Mysteries courtesy of Dawn. I'm doing some research. It's the one record I didn't show that they sent this week, and I'm doing research on it now, and I have a feeling I'm going to need your help with it because I can't find much on it, and it's an interesting little thing to look at. All that plus the usual news and segments and everything else. I've got more coming on Out of the Box in the next week. I will have more from Don and Mary in the near few days. I will have more of everything coming up for you, and please don't forget all the Eurovision coverage. And our schedules will be a little disrupted this week because of Eurovision coverage, but I do plan to have all my regular shows up, although Rank This will be on Monday this week. It is connected to Eurovision this week. Radio Retro will be back on Sunday at 4. Rank This will air this week Monday at 4, followed by Finding Your Music Mojo at 6. Influencers will be back on Tuesday at 4. Vinyl Recall Wednesday at 4, and then we'll be back for the Kirkham Report on Saturday, plus all the Eurovision stuff on which there'll be special shows on Monday and Wednesday, and live streams on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, the live watch-alongs during, and the live stream wrap-ups after. So please check the Eurovision schedule you saw earlier in the show. I will be covering it all, and I hope to see you there, because damn it, everybody should be watching Eurovision. It's an international thing, and we get to vote this year. In any case, I'm really glad you came by, and I know some people really hate it, but I've got to say it. Thank you if you've already subscribed to my show, and if you haven't, please do. I hope that you will continue to share the show, and please leave a comment. I will be catching up on the comments over the weekend. I'm way behind because of all the crazy crap with the house, which is finally done, and I'm very glad that you are here and watching, and I hope you'll continue to check out everything I have to offer. For the Kirkham Report this week, I'm T.C. Kirkham, the Kirkham Report, and TKR Video Central. We will see you for Eurovision coverage all next week. Until then, ciao, baby.